This was not going to be the version of Red Skull that you see in game. Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Rare Champions, Unplayable Champions and Secret Champions of Marvel Contest of Champions. Let's face it, when you think about Red Skull, you don't think of this version right here. What is this version? Well, this is Iron Skull. And this particular version of Red Skull was meant to be the one that you see in game. But of course, things change. And there's a good reason for why it had to change. However though, there would be a 3-year gap to explain why a version of Red Skull changed to the one you see in game. And also a TV series, an animated Marvel TV series called Marvel's Avengers Assemble, had an implication to matters. So for all that and more, keep tuned to this episode. So we take you back to Marvel Avengers Assemble, the TV series, the animated show. In fact, a moment which is very important is that Iron Man's suit got taken, as you can see on screen right now, and Iron Man's suit is forming its base around, that's right, Red Skull, Johann Schmidt. So of course through the episode, Johann Schmidt becomes the Iron Skull with obviously the Iron Man suit, or a kind of alternated Iron Man suit, so possessing powers of Iron Man plus what seems to be Cosmic Cube level powers at the same time. So in the next stages of this particular show, you see the Iron Man stolen armor and how it benefits Johann Schmidt as he progresses through the TV series. One thing that definitely comes to mind in and around this particular time frame is with the promotion of the Netflix Daredevil series, and as well the next reasons which Gabe gives as to why they were originally going for this version of Iron Skull. It feels like Marvel were trying to really use their Marvel Games platforms to promote products. You saw this in in-game messages over, say, more strongly in 2015 to say 2017. Yes, they did it a lot more in the latter years, but how it kind of felt was there was characters being built more movie versions, which kind of aligned to more like a promo side of things. I mean, look, for a time we used to have the likes of Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther Civil War, so there were, and there's probably tons more that I'm even missing out. But to bring it back to the subject matter, why was this the case that Kabam first of all went for this character? What were the implications from Marvel, and were there any gameplay? Well, was there any gameplay? There was gameplay for this particular champion. So there was a really cool interview with Gabriel Frazera, and that is on the X and Interviews. The link is in the description down below. There's lots of things covered, lots of the characters that we discuss in the Secret and Rare Champions series, and especially about the reasons as to why this character was kind of looked into, or the version and vision. So in a very candid take, Gabriel Frazera said one of the main reasons was this version was to try and improve toy sales for the Marvel Avengers Assemble toy line, which, look, may have not been that successful, but look, a lot of companies do this. I mean, it's a very much Disney thing to go, hey, by the way, you've got something out, like new kind of like real version of The Little Mermaid or whatever IP that they have. Oh, we'll run a new toy line or something like that. Similar with Star Wars, and I'm sure it'll be done in the future as well. Like, here's an example of a Marvel Legends toy that was created. And again, this may be down to like, well, the sales might have been a bit poor. So they were like, okay, could we just like influx them in game? You know, this could be a sick character that some people are more interested in. Go and check out the Marvel Legends series now that we're promoting this new uniform and look and costume, and the fact that he's in a cool Iron Man armor, and that's a strong IP to have a crossover link. I'm just theorizing that, so I could be wrong. Now, it does look to be a push for this particular character still teased within the universe of Marvel Contest of Champions. In the New York Comic Con images of the champions, there were little kind of glimpses of this Iron Skull. So I think it's kind of in the background, and always will be in the background of Marvel Contest of Champions, unless it gets released as a trophy champion in the future. I've probably got a video that's going to be put out at some point as to what will be the next trophy champion that will be in game. Will it be the likes of Iron Skull, especially as in some of the promo art, New York Comic Con stuff, and sometimes with some kind of cool kind of revealy things, you can make out this particular Iron Skull character. Like back in 2018, if anybody remembers the Revolution 2.0 motion comic, there is a slight mention to this Iron Skull version of Red Skull, as you can see on screen. The interesting thing about this particular motion comic is it uses the old PNG for the champion's profile art. I think it's called the portrait. But you can see it's like he's like gritty and angry and looking to the side. But in game, he is very different. You can see that he's more solemn, more kind of like steadfast and proud. And also there's a difference with the fact that you can see the ruffles of the Iron Man armor just coming up to the neck part right there. This was especially weird because this champion was actually released in August of 2018, so it does align with it, except the weird thing is that they're using the old version in the motion comic, but the new version entered into it's kind of weird, but I guess it kind of works. In any case, I just want to end the video on the gameplay because that's the most important thing as well. You can see that this character was modeled and does exist within the game, or did at a time. Whether or not Kabam have removed this particular character from the game files, it did exist. And it definitely looks like there was plans to create it as a character within the game. And it might have just sat there for a long time, still in the game files maybe, or maybe not, depending on how much, I'm not sure how Kabam deal with, older characters. Do they just sit on the game server or not? However, the interesting thing about this is that this character was slightly modelled a little bit on Iron Man when it comes to special attacks, but also Iron Patriot, especially when the champion got into things like SP3s, which we'll just have a look at right now. So the SP3 will be launched, as you can see right there, and it is indeed the Iron Patriot version of it. So maybe they were just going to copy and paste that with the ending animation, of course, of the Hydra salute. All links to things discussed in this particular video can be found in the link in the description. They're all there, all the links, all the research, all the information. So this was a very interesting deep dive, especially because the character had been created. We can see the models have been done, there's some animations, and it may still exist. I don't know. But it was interesting to find out how much this was based off of this particular TV show and the reasons behind it. The reasons being that it was something to promote a toy line of this particular character. I mean, the idea is a solid idea that the Iron Man suit would be stolen by Red Skull to turn him into Iron Skull. That kind of makes like some sense. It's a little bit more, it's more plausible than some of the other kind of like MCU storylines. So yeah, animated kind of like interesting storyline back in 2013, prior to all of this MCOC kicking off in 2014 and 2015, of course. But yeah, kind of weird with that, but also kind of cool. In any case, would you still like to see this particular champion come into game and be made for real? Do you think this could be a good trophy champion, but they'd have to have some original abilities? Thoughts in the comment section are down below. Thanks for the support on this series. This series has been pre-recorded and edited over many months, so I'm really excited whenever this comes out and you get to see it. Catch another episode of this particular series and check out the shorts that accompany these videos.